I was born, bred, schooled in Delhi. Now, in those years, Delhi was was a very small city, and we lived very close to the seat of power, that is North-South block. And in school, most of my, quite a few of my classmates were children, sons of service officers. We had the opportunity of witnessing the Republic Day Parade, the 15th August, the beating of the retreat, and some of my very family friends were people from the defense forces, so we had an opportunity of visiting the messes. And our chief guest for our sports function was always a serviceman. I remember in those years it was Vice Admiral Katari, and it was Vice Admiral Soman. And also, during the time, just before I decided to join the services, 1961 was Goa operations, 1962 was the Chinese War, 65 war we had, and so all these rumblings took place, and there was a lot of military fervor, a lot of Delhi was activated because of this, and a lot of things were being given to the servicemen, advantages, entitlements. And in school, if you said you were going to join the services, you were looked up upon. And fine. And in our school, we had, they encouraged people to join the forces. And so it just was a natural choice for me to join the Air Force. Mm-hmm. But I must tell you that when I look back, that time my father had contacted a senior Air Force officer, and he asked him, because around the same time, they were having emergency commission. So I was eligible for both. I had passed the SSB, and I could have also joined the emergency commission, but I was advised to go through NDA. But looking back, I lost in 3 years seniority. So that means a lot. 3 years is a long time, and a lot of loss. But the 3 years at NDA hardened me. It was a very tough training. The ragging was severe. And I passed out, went for my flying training, and I didn't make the grade, and I had to choose navigation. So that in brief is my training. Well, the first posting, I went to a Dakota squadron in the valley, as the Northeast was then known, and I was based in Jorat. The basic role of the squadron was food dropping. There were lots of army posts all over Northeast, and these had to be air maintained. One thing I would like to bring out is that in the maps in those areas, a lot of chunks of land were unsurveyed, and there were a lot of dead valleys inside, in the midst of those places. And there were a lot of posts also over there, and one had to know the valleys like the backside of his palm. There was nothing on the maps. We had 2 air accidents where the Dakota aircraft went into a valley and could not have the space to turn around, and they just crashed on the hilltop. It went into the blind valley, and they managed to show that crash as part of the 71 war casualty list. And we used to fly around 6,000 to 7,000 feet, and the mountain peaks were around 20,000. So bad weather was, you had to know the weather well enough before you entered, because after that it was difficult to come out. Actually, the more you flew, the more the more you knew the area well. We didn't require really maps. We just stood in the cockpit and we advised the pilots, especially the new pilots who came, and there wasn't much of real navigation or DR navigation, as you call. It was just familiarization of the ground. Since I was commissioned in June 70, the war took place within a year, so there was no chance of me going anywhere. I was still in the same squadron, and we did casualty evacuation, refugee evacuation. We did leaflet dropping, the surrender leaflets which General Manekshaw had printed, and nothing so exciting about what we did, honestly.